Okay, what I wanted to do is say hello and welcome. Can someone please pin me and Belinda?
Hey, hi, Georgie.
Now, this is the exciting thing. We're going live to all our channels and we're privately inside the group with our members, which is pretty cool.
Woohoo. I remember you talking about this. I totally forgot.
Yeah, so this
Got it.
meeting actually is getting live streamed at the moment. And what we're going to do, let me just get this camera right because it's chopping off the top of my head. So people that are watching,
this is going all the way through, right? So
yes. So this is what I want to do. I want to say welcome to the show. And today we're going to be talking about the mindset, the money mind shift that changed my life. So
fantastic.
We want to talk about mindset. It's going to be very exciting. I love the picture of you and I there, Belinda. Looks great. Don't you reckon?
It does. It's a good shot, huh?
Really good shot. Absolutely. Now,
love it.
People watching live, please type in #live. And the people that are watching replay, type in #replay.
Okay. So are we doing our normal Facebook now?
Going live everywhere. This is what's going to happen. We're going to go live. I'm going to talk about what's happening in the world. And then what's going to happen is we're going to shut off the live and go private in the group and go deep.
Okay, perfect. Love it, love it, love it.
Just so everyone knows.
Because I've got some really kind of hard-hitting questions, but I want to keep that mostly for members.
Exactly. That's what we're going to do. I know there's a big list of questions, Charmaine, a few other people.
I've got the Charmaine questions.
Great. I'm glad someone's organized, which is great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about mindset. Okay. Because the one thing holding people back more than anything, and this is about anything in life, is mindset.
Absolutely.
And we spoke about this a while ago. We talked about the fear of failure. And
100%.
I saw this. Yep. Go.
Can I just gear up a bit? I mean, one of the things, if we start right from the beginning, we've been given a really bad relationship with money, like starting at schools and things like that. Like, we're not taught, money properly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know I kept hearing, we can't afford that. We're not rich. That's what my parents said all the time. And I thought, great, we're poor. And they kept drumming in my head, you're poor, which is not the best thing to do to your kids, right? Teach them how to be poor. The thing is, a lot of people have got a mindset problem with money or other things that's unconscious. It's not even conscious. So what happens is when you're a kid, if you hear your parents arguing over money, you might not be aware of what they're arguing about at the time, but your unconscious is picking it up. And then that
100%.
gives you,
yep, absolutely.
And then what happens is unconscious mindset issues are a lot more insidious than conscious ones. Because if you're consciously aware of something, you can sort it out. But if you're unconsciously, and we call that limiting beliefs. That's what Anthony Robbins calls it.
Yes,
so
correct.
What people do is they create a limiting belief. And one limiting belief a lot of people have is that you need to work hard and save hard, and then you're going to do well.
Yes.
Now, no one wealthy worked hard and saved hard and became wealthy. You still have to work hard and save hard, but you got to be smart, invest, be street savvy, and invest in a smart way.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't invest in the right way, then it doesn't matter. You're not going to get there because hard work alone is not going to get you there. That's one of the lies that I got taught. Work hard, because I worked really hard when I got out of school. Damn hard.
Yes.
I had 2 or 3 jobs. I ran businesses. I worked really hard, saved hard, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. I was just running around like I'm not going to get you. So I worked really hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And I think I hear an echo of myself.
Yep. No. I was just checking that the light was going.
Great.
That's all right.
Hello,
awesome.
Future George.
That's it. Absolutely.
Thanking me for doing all the good stuff today. And you know what? This is what you say a lot. You say, do something that your future self's going to thank you for.
That's right. I do say that. I say that at the end of all our strategy sessions. Do something today that your, future self will pat you on the back and shake your hand for. Absolutely.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and talk about what's happening in the world at the moment, mainly in Australia.
Let's get stuck into it.
Okay.
This is all going to help with our mindset, correct?
Well, I like to tell everyone what's happening in the world. It's important. Or Australia, actually, with property. Australia's rental market.
Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is understanding.
Australia's rental market remains grim.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because you look at the Australian population change, look at that graph, right?
Yep.
So the slowing of rental growth and ability to get a property, funny enough, coincides with all the migrants coming to Australia.
Funny about that.
Exactly. So we had a whole bunch of people come to Australia, and what happened was they started renting a lot of stuff, and that's what happened. Funny enough, I'm in Bali at the moment, and what happened with Bali after the war with Ukraine and Russia, all the Ukrainians and Russians have moved here, and there's a rental crisis here as well, and a property boom. Property's
Yes,
gone nuts.
absolutely.
And rental affordability has gone right down, the worst on record in Australia. Funny enough, though, Australian rents are still pretty good, well, compared to the rest of the world.
Yes.
And look at this. We're just not getting enough approvals. Dwelling approvals has gone down.
What do you mean by that? Dwelling approvals, like?
Okay, so what happens is when a developer or a person wants to build a house, they go to the council and say, we want permission to build. And then what the government does, they keep a tally of how many approvals have been done. Well, approvals have gone right down, right?
Wow.
Right? Approved construction is 32% below what the Albanese government's got for a target for housing. So Albanese's government target, not going to happen. Now, look at this graph. This is a really interesting graph. You see that little red dot? That's the housing target that the Albanese government have got of how many we want to build. And you look at the blue graph, it's actually going down further away. So the further away this blue happens from the red, the bigger the gap between how many houses we need and how many houses we've got. What this screams is there's a massive housing shortage, and it's getting worse because you look at here, see 2017, we were building a lot of houses.
Yes.
Still not enough though. So even though 2017 we were building heaps of houses, there was a massive boom in property because there wasn't enough. Well, now housing dwellings have gone right down and we still need more properties. We've still got more migrants coming in. So the supply and demand, there's massive demand. The supply's gone down even more.
Yeah, wow.
And you can see the official cash rate, right, of the RBA. You look at the official cash rate, right? Really, at the end of the day, 2024, it's what it was in 2011.
Yeah, right.
And no one was complaining in 2011. I'll tell you why.
No, absolutely. There was no boo out of it.
No, the reason they weren't complaining is because we didn't come off almost zero interest rates down below. So you look at
it's a massive contrast. It's a massive contrast.
That's all it is. But if you look at the long-term interest rate, it's actually not that high at the moment. And I've actually invested in property with a lot higher interest rates than this.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of people that have. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
Now, listen to this. If people in Sydney, look what's happening in Sydney at the moment. Look at these little... Remember when we used to laugh about Japanese people living in these pods?
The pods, I know, we did.
Well, guess what? Now you can rent a pod in Sydney for $300 a week. It's basically a bed.
$300. Wow, it is a pod, isn't it?
It's a pod.
So really, there's no kitchen, no bathroom, no toilet. It's just a bed.
It's a bed. It's nearly as
bad
as the
one.
Train. Have you seen the ones in Japan?
No, I have seen them. They're crazy. Yeah, they're like stacked onto each other.
This one's, at least the Sydney ones are a bit bigger, but still, I mean, personally, I'd rather not live in a pod. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't want to be one of those people that couldn't handle confined spaces, like claustrophobic. Hello, that wouldn't work. Yeah,
it's sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. It is sci-fi. It is sci-fi. But this is what's happening. And when you think about what's going on, and you look at dwelling completions and how much we need and everything else like that, it's pretty crazy. It's really, the property market's about to get really hot. Even if interest rates don't go down, which they will, they might go up a notch, one or two, but they're going to drop again. Even if they don't, it's going to happen. It's going to be a massive boom. So mindset, let's talk about mindset.
Let's get started.
One thing about mindset is, okay, so the one big challenge I had with mindset, I'll tell you what my challenge was. I read a lot of books. So I read Think and Grow Rich. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. And those books really motivated me to invest and become successful. So I got out after reading these books. I was running around, everyone going, yes, I'm going to invest. I'm excited. You can take control of your own future, blah, blah. And I thought everyone else was going to be motivated and excited about what I'm saying. And they looked at me and said, nah, George, don't listen to that bullshit. It's not true. You can't become successful. Get back in your box. You know, those books about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, they just sell it to you to make money. They don't care about you. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, nah, and all that other stuff, right?
Someone said, I told someone about that, sorry, George. And they said, yeah, but isn't that Asian guy been bankrupt like 3 or 4 times? And I just zipped it and said, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, and look, Rich Dad, Poor Dad did go bankrupt, but at the moment he's got 8,000 properties. So,
Yeah.
you know what
You
I mean?
must be doing something right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that person could see that though.
No, exactly.
Yes.
And so one of the big challenges is when you're first starting out, and I'm talking to our audience and also our members, is sometimes you get really enthusiastic, especially if you join our group, you want to invest in property, and you're at a barbecue saying, I'm going to invest in property, I've joined Positive Property, and they're like, oh my God, sounds like a cult. As
Yes.
if Positive Property make money off you, they're not going to help you succeed. How do you know they've really done it? All their people are probably fake, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it can happen, right?
Hey,
and
someone said your smile's too bright.
yes,
He must be cold. His smile's too bright. He must be running a cult.
I had people commenting on my, I had a big smile on one of my photos on my ads, and people saying, your teeth are too white, don't want to invest from you. And I was like, what, you want to invest in someone with brown teeth? Like, I don't know.
What about no teeth?
Exactly.
What about
And
no teeth?
The thing is, you get all pumped up, and then they get a pin and burst your bubble. So sometimes when you're first starting out, you got to be careful who you tell, right? Because you don't want people bursting your bubble. Me, I just kept doing it anyway. And I kept going to family barbecues and events and saying, I'm going to invest in property. And people were like, oh yeah, sure. And then I bought a house. Then I kept going. Then funny enough, I remember I had 10 properties and people were still telling me it's dangerous and risky. And I'm like, how many do you have? How many investment properties? This lawyer that I know is like, none. I go, well, I've got 10 and you're going to tell me how to invest in property. Thanks, mate. Good work. Go back to university and do a bit more uni, right? Because he thought he was really high and mighty because he had a degree and everything, but I had an MBA, and I think my MBA beats that degree. You know, MBA.
I know what MBA stands
massive
for.
Bank account. That's the only thing you need to prove you're good at investing. A massive bank account. Nothing else.
Nothing beats experience, George.
No, not at all. And you know, I get a lot of people asking questions saying, "Oh, how do you know George is qualified?" Well, I got an MBA. I'm qualified by experience. I've helped a lot of people, and you know, and they're like, "Well, has he done a course on teach people how to invest in property?" A course ain't going to help you. You know, you got buyers agents. They do a 6-week course. I think it's 8 weeks. Then they go out selling people properties. Like in 8 weeks, you cannot become a real estate expert on investment. Impossible.
Yep. And
so
look,
with the mindset, you've got to guard your mindset. And the thing is, it's a bit like, I was going to ask this question because this is one of my fun ones with a coffee. You know, what happens if someone makes you a coffee and they put in, and your worst enemy makes you a coffee and they put coffee and they put an extra sugar in it? What would happen to you? Anyone type in the chat? We'll just use the chat now because we're live. Nothing. You're going to have a bit too much sugar. You might get a bit of diabetes if you have it all day. But what about if your best friend accidentally got a spoon of poison and put it in your coffee and gave you a coffee? What would happen to you?
Depending on the poison, if it was gradual, you'd gradually get sick without noticing it.
Exactly. Or if it was, yes, but it'd kill you, right?
If it was strong, it could kill you.
That's
absolutely.
Right, you die. And the thing is, sometimes even people that really care about you can poison your coffee. And what I mean by poison your coffee is poison your positive vibes because they care about you. And that's the one thing you've got to be careful. So, you know, moral of the story, watch your coffee. And, you know, if you hang out with a dog with fleas, you're going to catch fleas. So people that are negative and naysayers, you want to spend a little bit less time with them. You want to spend more time with people that are positive and people that uplift you, people that got your back.
Absolutely.
There's too many people that secretly want you to fail because they failed.
Yeah.
And
It's quite an unconscious thing.
Yeah. And you know what? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Mark, beautiful. I love that. Fantastic. And the thing is, people, you want to start hanging out with people that uplift you, people that think positive, people that are doing big things. Because when you do, you're going to do bigger things and better things.
Exactly.
Because whatever your mindset is now, whatever you're thinking now, you can hang out with people that are even more successful that's going to bring you up to the next level.
That's
and look,
right.
I'm part of a business group called Boardroom. And in this group, I get to hang out with billionaires. And I'm sometimes one of the poorest people in the room. And I love that because I've got these people that are so much more successful than me that I can hang out with. Actually,
exactly.
I'm going to Fiji with a bunch of people next month for my boardroom little meeting.
That's great.
So
I mean, what they say, I was going to say that it's the 5 people you hang out with are your biggest influencers.
Exactly.
So I make sure as an investor myself, I mean, obviously positive property are part of that that group, that community. That's a part of my influence.
Yes, and this is the
So
deal.
you've got to be very careful.
The way to hang out with people more successful than you, there's only one real way. That's why you got to pay for it. You got to pay for access, because people that are more successful aren't going to hang out with you for free. So Robert Kiyosaki didn't become my mentor until I started buying his courses and doing his workshops. Then he got to know me, and then now he's my mentor. But he didn't ring me and go, George, I think you're a great guy. You've never spent money with me. I'm going to go help you out. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
When I hang out with these billionaires, I pay to be part of this group.
Yep, absolutely.
People pay to be part of Positive Property, to hang out with people. It's a very normal thing.
Right.
You want to elevate yourself, you got to pay to play. But
I mean, look, you could even break that down to the fact of how much does it cost for a university degree these days, right?
Yes.
You know, and that's just to get access. That doesn't even get you a job. So you've got to invest in some way. You've got to invest in yourself. Yes. Doesn't matter how you look at it.
And this is one thing that I saw from Alex Hormozi. I don't know if people know who Alex Hormozi is, but it's pretty cool. He wrote this thing today, said, ask the girl, shoot the shot, launch the business, run the ad, buy the investment property. I added that last bit, but I thought I would.
I love it.
Right? But
you put your little cherry on it,
because he said, when you're 85 years old and on your deathbed, you're not going to wish you had fewer crazy stories, correct?
Absolutely.
No, you're not going to wish you had less crazy stories. You're going
less
to wish
crazy stories. You want more crazy stories. Absolutely. Sorry, that's what I meant. More crazy stories. It's the crazy stories you remember, not you know, the bank account.
Yes.
Kane just wrote something. People get addicted to gambling and smoking, and you can have a positive addiction to investing in property by spending time learning, and that's your best addiction ever.
Well done, Kane. That's good. And Kathy said, I paid over 30,000 degrees and I know nothing about money. I invested in Positive Property this year instead of another degree. Looking forward to my crazy story. Well, if you come to Adelaide in September, Kathy, it's going to be pretty crazy.
Book your flight to Adelaide. Love it.
Oh, Josephine said, hi, George. We're getting close to 20 minutes since we start. That's okay, Josephine. We're going to keep going until we're ready to ask all the deep questions. So any questions on mindset? Ask me any questions on mindset. That's what I'm going to do. And then after that, once we get the questions on mindset, we're going to get onto property. And that's when I'm going to switch off the live and get into it.
And we're going to go into our private group. Absolutely.
That's right. Yep.
Have we got any questions?
We're already in our private group. We've got our lovely members right here.
Okay, great.
We're already in there. It's a great thing.
We're already in there. Sorry, I'm a bit mixed up.
Yes.
It's Mark. Sorry. Question.
Yeah.
Reading, I know that it's probably not exactly the mindset side of things, but as we go through our journey and acquire more properties as we go along, Robert said something about protecting all your assets. So having like a corporation or somewhat of a trust or LLC, whatever it may be, to look after or own them, and then you sort of oversee them. So you're protecting your assets as well. Is that something that you sort of learn along the line?
Absolutely. So Mark, great question. And I'm going to get into this now, because one thing that's going to help your mindset is knowing that you're bulletproof, correct? Because investing in property is risky, but not only that, I really think what's important is once you accumulate wealth, you become a target. So therefore you need to protect yourself. So I'll give you a hint. I own 0 properties at the moment because I've got lots of different structures. So when you're coming to protect your assets, right? What's important is there's different ways you can do it. There's passive way of protecting your assets. See, what happens is most people that go to the bank and get a loan to buy an investment property, the banks, what they want to do is they don't want to protect your asset. They want to make it more accessible to them. So they've structured the loan so they can take your house and the investment property if anything goes wrong. Seriously. So if you go to a bank, you're going to get yourself in trouble. So one way of protecting yourself is going to a broker or mortgage manager that knows how to protect your assets through passive. What that means is we don't cross-collateralize, but also what we do is when we take out the equity, we take it out in buckets so we can limit what the banks take off you. This is what we do at Positive Property. Then there's all the insurances, income protection, trauma, life, property insurance, landlord insurance, all that sort of stuff. Then there's professionals, that having the right conveyancer, having building inspectors, having the correct property manager. All the professionals around you protect you as well. Because you get the wrong professional, they could really stuff up and you could lose a lot of money. Then we've got that set up. Then what we've got is the final bit is called the active asset protection. This is where we set up bloodline trusts and we start lending money backwards and forwards and moving everything around. So therefore you don't have any assets. So what happens is when you start with the bottom ones and move your way up as you get more properties until you become bulletproof. But once you have all these 4 different layers in place, you're literally bulletproof. And even the ATO can't take money off you, because my lawyer has actually had the ATO try to sue people with this structure, and they couldn't get to them. That's how powerful it is.
That's awesome, George. Love it.
Belinda, do you want to read the next
Thank you.
comments? Thank you. You're welcome.
No worries. Awesome. Someone wrote, it's about the journey, not the destination. Yeah, beautiful quote. We like that. How do you remain on track with mindset and positivity and push through the tough times?
Josephine, any comments? You can do them straight in the group. That way Belinda can read them. Yeah, so look, how do you remain on track with mindset positive? I'll tell you a secret that I use, right? And you know this, Belinda, because you've seen me do this many times.
I know, absolutely.
So what happens is your state, your body can control how you feel. And in September, I'm going to show everyone how to become bulletproof for your mindset, even if you're feeling down, how you can turn a negative into a positive. It's going to be very powerful. We look forward to doing this. But I'll give you an example. With Tony Robbins, we did the fire walk. And before the fire walk, you've got to get in the state and go, yes, and then walk on fire. And you're walking on hot coals that could burn your feet off. So when I've got a negative state, I actually do my move and pretend that I'm doing a fire walk up and down the hallway. And you've done it with me many times, Belinda, haven't you, over the last 20 years?
Yes, absolutely.
So has Christine and other people. And you do a fire walk, even a fake one, after you've done a real one, and you turn positive. Bang.
Absolutely. Can I give you my little thing on how we push through the tough times? And I've had, like, you know, brothers pass away and fathers pass away. I think the biggest thing is having really good, strong, positive goals in your life. You know, big goals, bigger the goals, you know, it gives you something to strive for. And it's those big goals that, you know, it's that light at the tunnel, you know, at the end of the tunnel, which, you know, even in the toughest times, you've got something to strive for. And that's really important. And, you know, everyone on this program, as you know, one of our sessions is actually goal setting and getting really clear. And it doesn't have to be, obviously, we're not just talking property. We're talking about, you know, having the holidays and doing all that kind of stuff and, you know, putting your kids through private school or, you know, going overseas, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's really super important because the experiences you get from that will also get you through the tough times.
Absolutely. Well, I've noticed the 2 toughest times in your life, Belinda, how you handled it. Do you mind if I share?
Yeah, no, please. Absolutely.
Okay. So you went through a very tough time and you decided that you wanted to raise money for charity, and you recruited me as well, right?
Yes.
And because you were working with me at the time. And what we did is we actually raised money for kids with it was called Kicking for Kids with Variety
Kicking
Club.
for Kids, correct.
And we
Variety
were doing
Club.
a documentary on Channel 9, and we raised over $223,000 over a 6-month period. That was just so focused on this that it helped with your grief, didn't it?
Well, absolutely. I lost my brother really suddenly, and, you know, doing normal everyday things, it was really hard to get out of bed, but actually raising money to provide, you know, prosthetic legs and arms and braille machine laptops and children that were underprivileged that would be so grateful to have an arm. I mean, all of a sudden, everything just seems pretty small. And I also knew that I was doing it in behalf of my brothers. His spirit was through me. So that actually helped me get through it all. And the whole experience was just amazing, wasn't it, George?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, so hopefully that answers your questions. Here we go. Someone said, I've been through tough, bad times in the last year. My wife was diagnosed with cancer, and unfortunately, I put all this aside, and now I'm back, and my wife and I are doing this as well. So fantastic.
Okay, welcome back. And there's one guy that met me on Gold Coast Airport.
Okay, Harry Wilson met in Gold Coast Airport in 2020. Previously did sales for an event. Got to say, no one has had a problem with your teeth in person. If anything, presentation helped as we took a selfie with your book. Never known when a photo opportunity will come up. I love it.
That's cute. Okay, so look, what we're going to do now is we're going to switch off the live stream and go deep with our group here. So, Josephine, let's switch it off.
Hey, see you later, guys. We'll see you next Thursday night.
Now.